When Roger Federer speaks, the tennis world stops to listen. It is just how it works. His voice carries the weight of 20 Grand Slams and a lifetime of seeing greatness before it even arrives on the big stage. But his latest comment about a 20-year-old from the Philippines has left every expert at the 2026 Miami Open completely stunned. He did not just call her a good player. He said that Alex Eala is the most dangerous breakthrough star in the WTA right now. Think about that for a second. Federer has seen every prodigy. He has watched the rise of Coco Gauff and the absolute dominance of Iga Swiatek. So why her? Why did he single out a girl who started the year fighting for air in the middle of the rankings? This is someone who was just another name from the Rafa Nadal Academy until very recently. But something shifted in Miami. A switch was flipped. Federer saw it before the commentators did. He noticed a specific tactical edge that even the top 10 seeds are currently struggling to decode. Most casual fans look at the highlight reels or the social media posts. They see a young athlete with a bright smile and a fast forehand. But Federer is looking at the invisible gears. He is looking at the one thing that makes her a genuine nightmare for the elite players on the tour. If you watch the matches from the last 48 hours with a magnifying glass, you can see the seeds of a genuine revolution. It is not just about raw power. It is not about physical height. It is about a secret weapon she has been hiding in plain sight for months. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain and show you exactly what that weapon is. Because if Federer is right, then the top of the game for women is about to get very crowded very fast. There is a specific reason why the veterans are starting to look nervous when they see her name in their section of the draw. It is a mystery that has been building for years behind the closed doors of elite academies. And the answer is much more complex than just hitting the ball hard. To understand why this claim carries so much weight, we have to look at the cold, hard facts of what just happened. Just 2 days ago, Alex Eala did something no Filipina has ever done in the modern era of the sport. She fought her way into the round of 16 at the Miami Open. And, let us be clear, this was not a lucky draw or a series of retirements. She had to go through grizzled veterans like Magda Linette and the tactical wall that is Laura Siegemund. In that deciding third set against Linette, under the brutal Florida sun, Eala won 14 of 17 points. That is an 82% success rate when the pressure was at its absolute peak. Most 20-year-olds would have crumbled in that heat. Most would have let the crowd or the occasion get into their heads. But Eala looked like she had been playing on center court for a decade. This journey did not just materialize out of nowhere in Miami. It started years ago at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca. She was the star pupil, the one they talked about in hushed tones. But the transition to the Pro Tour is a meat grinder that destroys more dreams than it fulfills. Mallorca is more than just a training ground. It is where the spirit is forged. Imagine a young girl far from home, leaving the tropical heat of Manila for the clay courts of Spain. That is a sacrifice most people cannot fathom. She was alone with her racket and a dream that felt 1,000 miles away. Every morning at 5, she was hitting balls while the rest of the world was still in bed. This is where the quietness of her resolve was born. She did not have the luxury of a normal childhood. She had the weight of a nation on her shoulders before she even had a license to drive. When you look at her now, you are not just seeing a tennis player. You are seeing the result of 10,000 hours of quietness and grit. The Rafa Nadal Academy is a place of suffering. It is designed to find the breaking point of every athlete. If you do not break, you become something else entirely. Eala became a survivor. For a long time, it looked like she might be another what-if story. She was hovering around the 150 mark for what felt like an eternity. People were starting to whisper that maybe the hype was just that, hype. Then 2026 arrived and everything changed. Suddenly, she was not just competing, she was dictating play against the best in the world. The Filipino-American community in Miami has been turning out in massive numbers to witness this. They see more than a tennis player, they see a historic symbol of what is possible. She is the first from her nation to officially crack the top 30 world ranking. That is not just a number on a website. It is a milestone that fundamentally changes the landscape of tennis in Asia. It is a moment of pure pride that is resonating far beyond the court. As we watch her rise to this incredible new level, you have to wonder if you are ready to be part of the rest of her story. If you feel that same spark of pride or curiosity that the thousands in the stadium felt, then you are exactly where you need to be. Join our growing community by subscribing so we can track every single milestone of this historic rise together. Because the ranking is only the first page of a much larger book. But even with all this success, there is a dark side to this story that nobody is mentioning. There is a specific statistical anomaly in her game that suggests this peak might be temporary, or it might be the start of a curse. The anomaly I am talking about is not a weakness in her serve, or a lack of power in her forehand. It is something far more subtle and far more dangerous for her opponents. Look, let us get into the weeds of the game for a second, because this is where Federer found the gold. Most players on the WTA Tour right now are obsessed with one thing: power. They want to hit the ball through the court as hard as they possibly can. They are looking for that 120-mile-per-hour ace, or that screaming winner from the baseline. But Alex Eala is playing a completely different game. Federer calls it the time reaction. It is a concept that very few people outside of the elite professional circle actually understand. If you watch the footage of her match against Magda Linette, you will notice something strange about where Eala stands when she is returning a serve. Most players would louis-lie or move back to give themselves more time to react to a 90-mile-per-hour serve, but Eala does the exact opposite. She steps into the court. She takes the ball on the rise, which means she is hitting it while it is still coming up from the bounce. This is a technical nightmare to execute because your timing has to be perfect. If you are off by a millisecond, the ball goes into the bottom of the net or flies 20 feet out of bounds. But when you get it right, you are effectively stealing time from your opponent. You are sending the ball back to them before they have even finished their follow-through. Imagine being a top 10 player who was used to having a full second to prepare for the next shot, and suddenly the ball is already at your feet. That is the layer of revelation that Federer was pointing out. It is a form of counterpunching that we have not seen at this level of efficiency since the early days of Martina Hingis. In that match in Miami, Eala was not just surviving the pace, she was using the pace of her opponent against them. The statistics are mind-blowing. When Linette hit a serve over 100 miles per hour, Eala won the point over 60% of the time. Think about that for a moment. The harder the opponent hit the ball, the more dangerous Eala became. This is the paradox that is starting to haunt the locker room. The top seeds are realizing that their biggest weapon, their power, is actually a liability when they face her. It is like trying to punch a ghost that hits you back before your hand even reaches them. This requires a level of stillness and focus that most 20-year-olds simply do not possess. There is a quietness in her footwork that allows her to make these micro-adjustments without any wasted motion. She is not running, she is gliding. And this brings us to the second layer of the secret that Federer mentioned, which is even more terrifying for the rest of the tour. Most players have a plan A and a plan B. If plan A does not work, they try to hit the ball harder. That is the standard WTA manual. But Eala is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. She has this incredible ability to read the game and change her entire strategy in the middle of a set. We saw this in the second set against Siegemund. Eala was losing the baseline rallies, so she did something radical. She started using the drop shot, not just once, but 4 times in 2 games. She broke the rhythm of a veteran player who is known for her own tactical brilliance. This is the Nadal DNA coming through. It is the ability to analyze a problem in real time and find the one crack in the armor. It is what we call invisible thinking. You cannot see it on a scoreboard, but you can feel the frustration building in her opponents. They start talking to their coaches, they start shaking their heads, they start making unforced errors because they cannot predict what she will do next. You are staying with me through these deep tactical waters, and that tells me you are a true fan of the game who sees what the casual crowd is missing. I really want to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think this high IQ tactical style can actually take down the pure brute force of players like Sabalenka or Rybakina in a Grand Slam final? Head down to the comments and let me know, because your insights are what make this community the smartest in tennis. This level of game reading is extremely rare for someone her age. Federer noted that her court geometry is perfect. She knows exactly where to hit the ball to make her opponent run the maximum distance with the minimum effort from her side. It is a masterpiece of efficiency. When you combine this level of intelligence with the stillness she learned in Spain, you get a player who is essentially a computer on the court. She is calculating the angles, the wind, the surface speed, and the mental state of her opponent all at once. This is why Federer is so certain about her breakthrough in 2026. He sees a player who is not just physically ready, but mentally superior to almost everyone in her age group. The stakes could not be higher. If she can maintain this level of invisible thinking through the pressure of a major tournament, we are looking at the next world number one. But there is one more piece of evidence that we need to examine. It is a piece of data that was tucked away in the back of the official Miami Open report, and it reveals the final part of the puzzle that makes Alex Eala a genuine threat to the established order of tennis. The data I am talking about is hidden in the return of serve statistics from the 2026 spring hard court swing. It is a metric called the impact point distance. Most top 10 players strike the ball roughly 3 feet behind the baseline when they are under pressure, but Alex Eala is hitting her ground strokes an average of 2 feet inside the court. She is physically taking territory that her opponents are too afraid to claim. This is not just a style of play. It is a declaration of war against the defensive baseline meta. When you look at her win rate against the top 20 seeds in March 2026, the numbers are staggering. Eala won 72% of points where she struck the ball from inside the baseline. That is a higher efficiency than even Iga Swiatek during her prime clay court runs. It is proof that Federer was not just being kind. He was being a scout. He saw the shift in the geometry. He saw that Eala is forcing the best athletes in the world to play defense while they are supposedly on the attack. This is the stillness that her rivals cannot break. No matter how hard they hit, she remains quiet in her movement and precise in her response. There was a private practice session in Mallorca just before the season began where she was seen training with a specific focus on short-angle volleys. Most people ignored it because Eala is a baseline player. But we saw the result in Miami. She is moving to the net with a confidence that matches her ground game. This makes her a complete player in an era of specialists. She has the defense of a counterpuncher and the finishing instinct of a volleyer. It is a combination that is almost impossible to coach. It has to be felt. And the prediction for the rest of 2026 is becoming very clear based on this evidence. If she stays healthy, her current trajectory will place her inside the top 10 before the first ball is struck at the US Open. This is not just a hot streak, it is a fundamental evolution of her game. She has closed the loop on every weakness that was holding her back in 2025. Her serve has gained 5 miles per hour of average speed, and her backhand down the line has become a weapon of pure destruction. The implications for the WTA Tour are massive. Eala is the blueprint for the next generation. She is proving that you do not need to be 6 feet tall to dominate the modern game if you have the IQ to outthink the power. She is the most dangerous breakthrough star because she is playing a game that her rivals are not prepared to answer. This is the moment where the story of Philippine tennis changes forever. We are watching the birth of a legend in real time. But the real test is still ahead of us on the grass courts of Wimbledon. Will this tactical genius translate to the fastest surface in the world? Or will the power hitters finally find a way to break her stillness? If you want to be the first to see the breakdown of how her game adapts to the grass, then you need to stay connected with us. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss the moment we find out if Federer was right about her winning a Grand Slam this year. The journey is just beginning, and you do not want to be the one who missed the rise of the most dangerous player in tennis. For now, we watch and wait as Alex Eala prepares for the biggest summer of her life. The world is watching, and so is Roger Federer.